Monitoring symptoms is a very important task while searching for the right dose of thiamine in B1 therapy in order to detect changes such as symptom improvement or worsening or no changes. We can jot down our daily notes on a diary, or we can use a form to record the findings of our assessment and then enter the data into an Excel sheet, which would allow us also to create charts. Charts are a good means of visualizing trends. The two methods complement each other. Let's now see how to create a monitoring form in Excel and how to create charts. I've just opened a blank Excel sheet with no data in it. There are two types of items that we need to record. First, the date which the symptom monitoring refers to, and next, all the symptoms that I have that I'm going to monitor. Let's now start with the date. Let's write the date here on top of the column, here, date. Then we have to write the symptoms I'm going to monitor. Let's assume I have brain fog, difficulty in turning over in bed at night, chest tightness, fatigue, and no sleep. Now we enter the date. We will actually use the European format for this example with 2 digits for the day, 2 digits for the month, and 4 digits for the year. We will separate the day from the month and the month from the year using forward slash. Like this. Let's assume today is the 1st of October 2023. This is how we will write the date. 01 forward slash 10 forward slash 2023. Now we have to give a score to each of the symptoms. We will use a scale from 0 to 10, where 0 means no symptom present, and 10, the highest score, means very severe. So let's assume that I have decided to give a score of 4 to brain fog, 6 to turnover, 6 to chest tight, 3 to fatigue, and 4 to sleep on the day of the 1st of October 2023. In addition to the individual scores for each symptom, I would like to have a total score for all symptoms. So I write here total score, and I will enter the formula to get the total automatically. Equals sum, open parenthesis, first value in the range, colon, last value in the range, close parenthesis, enter. So on the 1st of October 2023, I had scores related to the symptoms of 23. Now next day, the 2nd of October, I'm going again to assess my symptoms and to give a score. Now in writing the date, I could write it manually, or I could do in this way. I could do it automatically. I select the date, the 1st of October. I can see that down there at the bottom on the right hand corner there is a small square. When the mouse goes over it, it changes into a plus sign. I keep the left mouse pressed. I hold down while I drag it. I release it, and I have all the days of October listed. So it's the 2nd of October. I'm going to assess my symptoms again, providing a new score. Let's assume is 4 for brain fog, 6 again for turnover, 6 for chest tight, 3 for fatigue, and 4 for lack of sleep. So basically the same. Now here again I can write the formula to get the total score manually, Or I can do something like what I did for the date. I select the cell where I have the formula, where I've entered the formula before. At the bottom right hand corner there is a little square. When the mouse goes over, it turns into a plus. I hold down the left mouse, I drag it down, I release it, and I get automatically the total also for the second day, which is the same as for the first day because the score for each symptom did not change. Let's assume I do an assessment on the 3rd of October, and I would have 4 for brain fog, 5 for turnover, 5 for chest tight, 4 for fatigue, and 5 for sleep. Now I could continue entering the data manually, the scores, but to save time I've already prepared an Excel sheet where I have entered fictitious data to show how to insert charts.
How do we insert a chart? Well, first we have to decide which data we want to be plotted in the chart. We want the date, so we click on top of column A, which contains the dates of October. Next, we want the symptom brain fog, so we move the mouse to column B, we press the Control key, and while holding it down, we click on column B, which contains the scores that we are interested in. As we have selected the data we want to be displayed in the chart, we now proceed to insert the chart. We go to the menu, Insert, we go to the sections on chart types, we select the line type with markers, and the chart appears on the data sheet. We expand it a little bit, and now let's see the elements of the chart. We have the title is a symptom brain fog, the values, the scores, which are here as a sort of line graph, the dates of October at the bottom, and then we have the scale. The scale has been automatically generated by the program based on the values I've entered. So it is from 0 to 6. However, we said we use a clinical scale from 0 to 10 to score the symptoms. In order to be able to compare all the charts for all the symptoms, it's good to have the same scale used for each graph, for each chart. So we have to adjust the scale from 0 to 6, changing the upper value to 10. We click on any value reported here on the scale. We right-click with the mouse. In the menu which opens, we go down and we select and click on Format Axis. There are several options available. Under Bounds, the minimum value of the scale is 0. The maximum value, we have to change it into 10. We click on the chart, we close, and now we have the scale which runs from 0 to 10. We also would like to add a useful feature, which is the trend line. We click on the line graph here, we right-click. On the menu which opens, we select Add Trend Line. We have different options available: exponential, linear, logarithmic, and so on. For this example, we use the linear option. We can see in this example that the line starts from a lower score value and goes up to a higher score value. This means that since the score is increasing, the trend is upwards, the symptom is getting worse. If I generated the chart for each symptom and I kept all the charts on the same data sheet, it would become a little messy. So what I want to do now is to move the chart that has been generated for a symptom brain fog to a different sheet and to do the same for each symptom. We go to the top bar here, we click on Move Chart, we want the chart to be placed on a new sheet that we will call brain fog. We click OK, and we can see that a new tab has been created called brain fog, which accommodates the chart on brain fog. If we go back to the data sheet, we can see there is no more the chart we generated because it has actually been moved to the sheet brain fog. Let's have another example. We want now to select, we unselect first by clicking anywhere on the sheet. We want now to select the date, and we want to select the symptom chest tightness. We hold down the control key, we click, and we have selected the column with all the values. We go to Insert, Type of Chart, Line Chart with markers. We expand it. Now the title is a symptom chest tightness. We have the score values presented here on the line graph, the dates and the scale. Now again, the scale has been generated automatically and it is limited, running from 0 to 6. We want it to be from 0 to 10. So we click on any value on this scale. You right click with the mouse. In the menu which opens, we select Format Axis. We can see that under the options, under bounds, the maximum value is 6 and we change it, as we did before, into 10. We click, we close. Now the scale runs from 0 to 10. We add a trend line, we click on the line, we right click, we select Add Trend Line. It has already been preset for linear because that's the one we used before. In this case, it shows the downward trend going from a higher value to a lower value. This means that the symptom chest tightness has been improving over time in the month of October. We want to move this chart as well. So we go to the top bar, we click on Move Chart. We want to place it on a new sheet that we will call Chest Tightness. We click OK. We have a new tab called Chest Tightness, which shows the chart with all the score values for chest tightness in the month of October. If we go back to the data, we click on the Data tab, we can see that the chart is no longer there. We want to add a third to last example to show how to insert and generate charts. We click on anywhere on the data sheet here to unselect the data. We click on column A, which contains the dates of October. Then we hold down the control key, and while holding it down, we select column G, which contains the total scores for all symptoms. We insert line chart with markers, as we did before. We expand the chart. The title is Total Score. We have the total scores shown as a sort of line graph. We have the dates of October and with the scale. Let's add the trend line. We point to the line. We right click with the mouse. We select Add Trend Line, Linear, and the dotted line which appears on the graph goes from a higher value to a lower value. This means the trend of the total scores for all symptoms is going downward, therefore it is improving. Let's move also this chart on total score to a separate sheet. We go to the top bar, we select Move Chart, we want to place it to a new sheet that we call it Total Score. We click OK, and as happened for the previous signs, also for total score we now have a sheet displaying the graph, the chart. Let's go back to the data sheet. Let's click to unselect. Now I want to know how I'm responding to treatment. So I need to include the B1 dose that I'm taking. Let's assume that we started B1 with a dose of 500 milligrams per day on the 1st of October, 500, and stayed on that dose for the first 2 weeks of October up to the 15th of October. When we doubled the dose, up to the end of the month of October. I want to a chart now which show me the date the symptom chest tightness was assessed, the score and the B1 dose at the same time. So we will select with the same approach column A, the date, column D, while holding the control key down, chest tightness, and column H, where I have the B1 dose included. I go to Insert, Line Chart with markers, now I want to change the chart type, so I will go to the horizontal bar, I will click where it says Change Chart Type, I will select the type of combo. Under chest tightness here, I will select line chart, I will click here under secondary axis to display the scale for chest tightness on the secondary axis. I will click OK. Look at the chart, I've added the title chest tightness and B1. We have the blue line which corresponds to the scores given to the symptom chest tightness over time in the month of October. We have the orange line which corresponds to the B1 doses. Let's add the trend line. I point to the blue line, right click with the mouse, add the trend line, a linear one. Now if I look at the scales, we have the scales for the score. Again, it's from 0 to 6, so I have to change it into 0 to 10. I click to any value, right click, format axis, I replace 6 with 10, I click, I close. Now the scale runs from 0 to 10 for the scores given to the symptom chest tightness, the blue line here. Now I do the same here for the B1 dose. I will put a maximum value of 1500 so that I can see the starting dose of 500 here. And let's look at the graph now, at the chart now. We have the dotted line, which is the trend line, which shows a downward trend, as we saw before. Now, at the beginning, the symptoms score has been more or less stable. We can see here. And it started going down around after the first 11 days of B1. 11 days. Okay, so here when it starts going down, which corresponds to the 11th of October, and then when we double the dose, we increase it to 1000 milligrams per day, the orange line here, we can see that the symptom score went down. And we understand that when the score goes down, that means the trend is towards improvement. Now we want to move the chart again to a separate sheet. We go to the top bar, move chart, place it on a new sheet and call it chest tightness and B1. Click OK. A new tab appears. We have moved the chart on chest tightness and B1 dose to a new sheet. We click on data and we have our data sheet containing now only the data.
The Excel version used in this tutorial is old. People with old version will then be able to follow. Newer versions may be slightly different.